welcome to JK Talk with Josh and Kenny talk about everything. And today, it's Media Monday. We're hitting Rings of Power.
Bow, and we in, baby.
What up, bye? So this is the deal. It's Media Monday, which means we're talking everything media. Everything is on the table that is media-based.
And it's on a Monday.
We get real creative with stuff around here.
I like my words.
Media Monday, we're talking Rings of Power.
Uh-huh.
We have not talked very much because we've both been very busy. One, we've been trying to get this back up and running.
Yes, which has been a struggle. Struggle bus has been activated.
We literally drove an insane amount of miles in order to make this happen once before.
And it didn't. So
only
then we
to
did
not
it the
have
other
a
way.
crucial piece of the thing that we needed. But now we all have it all under one roof.
We have obtained all of the Infinity Stones.
And we are now in our final form because we got all our stuff.
Exactly.
So,
all right, cut to the chase because I know what you're gonna be about this.
That's right.
You about to try and ruin my night. So
we're talking Rings of Power. Get out your toilet paper because I'm about to crap all over this show.
Okay.
Because it needs to be done.
Okay, Kenny.
And I'm not just a hater for hater's sake.
That's what a hater would say.
But this is how it has to be.
Okay. Do your bit so that I can tell you how wrong you are. Go for it.
All right. So I started watching this show. First two episodes hit at the same time.
Correct.
Fell asleep during the first episode, and I watched it in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And it was just really slow and really boring. But I went downstairs, grabbed something to drink, made it through the first episode, went ahead and watched the second episode, and I was like, okay, well, I watched them.
Well, I did it.
I did it. I don't think this is very good, and it's very slow and it's very boring. Watched the third episode. I was like, this is kind of dumb. It's slow and it's still very boring. And that kind of repeated. What literally broke my soul was
what did it? What did you in?
episode 6.
Why?
So they have this MacGuffin, which is a sword hilt that when it makes contact with your blood, you creates a sword.
Right.
The whole
seems
plot
pretty cool
at this moment is built around everybody trying to obtain this sword.
Well, the orcs,
like
specifically,
the orcs are after it. Adar is after it.
Right.
Adar is the only interesting character in the whole show at this point. They literally spend 65 out of 70 minutes of an episode trying to obtain this MacGuffin of a thing.
Right.
Only to get it back, but none of these eggheads think to check the cloth that the relic is wrapped in to make sure that the thing they have, it's actually the thing they've been trying to find and defend for an hour. They don't even think to look. And the dumb kid who screwed it up in the first place is the one that looks at it. And he's like, oh, this is just some stupid hatchet. And then the sword is a key to open up a dam, which causes it to flood and creates Mount Doom. Causes a volcano to erupt. And then Galadriel eats a volcano eruption to the face. Totally fine.
Well, I mean, she's
just a flesh wound.
She's pretty powerful.
She's still human. She's still elfish. She's still mortal from the sense that she can be killed. And dude, there's horses on fire. There's the whole village is wiped out. She literally takes this thing to the face. And I was like, this is stupid. I hit my head so hard. I face palmed like it was. I was like, I can't. So, it broke me. I literally walked downstairs and told my wife, I was like, I'm broke. I'm done.
So let me get this straight. So the turning point for you was the fact that they didn't check the cloth, and then she ate a volcano eruption to the face.
There's 5 more episodes of just dumb happenstance things that happen, like the fact that the Harfoots are homicidal maniacs that talk about everybody fights together, everybody moves together, but if you fall behind, take her cart, leave her behind, they're all gonna die anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean,
survival of the fittest.
Stick to the code. You didn't watch Pirates of the Caribbean,
dude. Pirates is stupid too.
Stick to the code,
dude. This show wants so badly to be epic and to be Lord of the Rings, but it is not.
Let me ask you this serious question, and like all joking aside, do you think that it could just be that it's just a really, really slow burn?
No.
And like some of this stuff is going to smooth out over time, because this is what I think. I think that they're definitely getting a rough start. It's like 3.3, like in rating right now out of 5. Right? So it's like, that's a rough start for something of this caliber. Okay? I give you that.
They spent $1 billion on it, pretty much.
Well, I mean, you know, we haven't seen everything they spent $1 billion on yet.
Yeah, we did.
Not everything.
Yeah, we did.
Because that's $1 billion. That's not $1 billion for just the first
They
season.
spent like $250 million an episode on this crap. That's a movie budget.
Which, I mean, it looks
fantastic.
Which is what most of that is spent on.
It looks good,
to be fair.
but the acting is terrible. The plot is terrible.
Okay, so here's my thing. Okay, so I do think that it's not as good as what I wanted it to be currently constructed. I agree with that. I give that. There's definitely things that I'm like, I don't necessarily like that. But I'm still hopeful, because there are a lot of things that I do like. Like, for instance, the pacing of this of this show is way better than all of the Hobbit movies.
The Hobbit is bad.
Right.
Objectively
bad. Right. So that gives me hope within itself, because its pacing is better. I think the core story is better. Right. The core story that they're going with, not necessarily what we have been told so far, but with what they're going with is better than the story of the movie Hobbit. Right.
Okay.
And so that gives me hope as well. And then obviously, if you have those two things and you dump enough money into something, really you're just waiting for something to fall right, and something's bound to fall right when you have those two things and then a bunch of money. Because all the other stuff can be solved with money, right? Like if it's an acting issue, more money, either a better actor or a better incentive to act better.
Now you're talking about replacing your main characters.
No. I'm not.
Because
I said that's one option. The other option being, and I don't think Galadriel is acting bad.
No, I think she's written bad.
Agreed.
I don't think the actors are bad. I just think they're not handled well. They're not written well.
Okay, and
for
that I can agree
everything
with.
that happens in this season, Sauron had nothing to do with any of it.
So we know.
But
we know.
There is no way.
We don't know
that he had the foresight to put himself on a raft that would come into contact with Galadriel, who was supposed to go into Valinor, but decides at the last second to swim across an entire freaking ocean with no game plan.
Could be.
Just swim across an ocean.
Hey man, he had to fool the elves.
In an ocean, and run across one raft in the middle of an ocean.
Okay, but think about it like this. If Sauron is as intelligent and as foresightful as the books claim him to be, working for Morgoth, this is not outside the realm of something that he would pull off. And especially if we talk about, we're talking about Sauron that pulls off the biggest okie doke outside of Morgoth ever, being enslaving these races with the rings, right? So like he does, I do put this within his wheelhouse to pull off. I don't think that it's something that can't be done. I mean, we've seen other characters in other movies or TV shows that are less intelligent pull off more intricate things, more hand wavy. Like, how would you even calculate that kind of things, right?
The reason that you can have that opinion, or you could even maybe convince me to have that opinion, is because we know the subject matter behind it.
True.
The average person who watches this show is lost most of the time.
Okay.
Because they don't have anything to go off of.
That's fair.
Like to really care about this show, you kind of have to go and read some books or watch YouTube videos of people that explain these things.
You have to be a fan.
They're throwing stuff in there as if you know what it is, but they don't go to any lengths to explain it.
Now, here's my question, though, right? So we talk about this with video games all the time, right? what makes video games nowadays like really boring is that they don't respect your intelligence. Are we criticizing, and we've made the same criticism of TV shows and movies as well, are we criticizing Rings of Power for something that we've been asking that industry to give us, which is a respect of our intelligence? Like, for instance, there was a day when you would go, if you went to go see a movie that was either based about a book or something like that, people would like read the book or at least like find a synopsis about it or something like that because they didn't want to go in blind, right? Are we looking at Rings of Power and say, hey, respect our intelligence? And they're like, okay, cool. We're going to assume that you either know how this person operates and their backstory, or you're willing to go along with this ride long enough where you get 6 seasons in and you say, oh, he really is smart enough to plan what happened in season 1,
but
the way that it happened.
I don't think the writers are smart enough to have had that idea.
Look, man,
but
I'm trying
listen
here.
To this.
I'm trying.
They'll listen to this podcast and they'll rip your idea off and they'll be like, oh, we totally planned that the whole time.
Shoot, I gave Marvel an idea for a whole movie franchise a few years ago. I'm still waiting to see Savage.
This is the thing. I really do think that the writers forget what they wrote the week before.
Yeah.
And they totally abandon one storyline to start another one. And then when they go back to the one they forgot about, they remember it wrong.
Yeah, I could see that.
There's just there's some things where I'm like, that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Like Khazad-dûm, that's a really cool thing to see.
Yeah.
Like, and like some of the characters that I just don't know anything about them. So, a good example, Kelly watches this show called Abbott Elementary on Hulu. It's about teachers. It's like The Office, but with teachers.
Shameless plug.
And I came home from work. It was on. I watched the last maybe 15 minutes of the episode that was on, and then I sat down to eat something, and I watched 2 more episodes.
That sounds like me with Lily with Superstore.
Exactly. So in 2.5 episodes, so I'm 40, maybe 55 minutes deep into, and it's not like I watched the last bit of episode 1. She's like on episode 8.
Yeah. Like in the middle of like episode 8 of season 3.
And I was sitting there and I was like, this is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I know more about these characters in less than an hour than I know about the characters in Rings of Power, and I've watched 7 episodes.
Yeah, but
I've watched 7 episodes.
That's the writing style of the show, though. Like,
Dude.
Shows like that are meant to be fast action, straight to the bloodline. Like, we all know that. It's Seinfeld, right?
No, don't insult Seinfeld.
No. It's Seinfeld. It's Seinfeld coined how that stuff is played, where you can pick up in any episode on any season, and you feel like you've been with them the whole time. That's just the way that it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fantastic.
And it's great, but it's not conducive for a long-term storyline.
So the only thing I found remotely interesting in this Rings of Power, this 8-episode run, the Stranger at times.
Yeah.
And Adar, not knowing who he is or what his deal is. But
I like Elrond. I like some of his stuff with the dwarves. I like how
Elrond and Durin is very likable pairing.
Yeah, I think that they're written well.
I think it was maybe it's in the episode 4, episode 5 when they're talking
about their fathers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I see you, Rings of Power.
And it was good.
You're making me care about these 2 characters.
Yeah, see? And you just glossed over that because
but then,
you're trying to toilet paper on
everything. But then they follow that up. Oh, my God. With just bullcrap. Like, dumb stuff. So, in the first episode, Galadriel was forcing these elves to go with her to find Sauron. They've been looking for him for like hundreds of years.
Well, it is their job.
They are on the brink of death. One chick is laying in the snow, begging for them to slow down because she's going to die. And Galadriel's like, leave her. We got to keep moving. And then
it wasn't quite like that.
no, she's like, leave her. And I'm like, this is Galadriel? So then they decide that the one elf, her friend, the guy is like, hey, we're not leaving her.
Right.
So they end up taking her. She goes Rambo on this cave troll when
Pretty awesome.
all the other elves are getting wrecked.
Well, she is the leader.
Well, yeah, but like, bro,
Come on, man.
Come
on, man.
So anyway, they kill the cave troll. So now I think it's episode 7 after she survives the volcano erupting in her face.
Mm-hmm.
She's with the teenage boy who causes all the problems in the first place.
Him, I actually do hate.
So
I actually do hate him.
He is talking about murdering orcs. They all got to die. And then she's like, don't talk like that. It makes you like them. You'll become evil. It corrupts your heart. She's willing to leave one of her own teammates behind so she can keep going. Then she tells Adar, literally leans in and is like, hey, mother trucker, I'm gonna kill everybody you care about, but I'm not gonna kill you until last because I want you to know every orc is dead. Then I'll kill you. Basically gave him the bane. Then you have my permission to die.
Okay,
look, but then she's telling.
That's actually. So you raise a good point, and this is actually a really good explanation for that. So he's a child. She doesn't want the child to be thinking about mass murder of another race.
But Adar was like, "You sound like more of an Uruk-hai than I ever did." When she tells him that,
and he's an adult.
He's 1,000 years old,
so they can have that conversation. But the kid, he's a kid. He's like 13.
Dude, he's in the thick of it now. He's 27 now.
So look. I will say this. I do agree with you that there are some major issues with this show. I went into this more. I really wanted it to be like absolutely epic. I still believe that it will even itself out and it will find its flow, because I think with a show like this, there's so many things that can go right, but there's so many things that can go wrong. And I know that seems like a really easy, like, well, duh, Josh, but like, seriously, like, this is one of those things that you can write mediocre and it will be a disaster. Whereas in another show, you could write mediocre and it would still be okay, right? With this type of show, you can't do that. You have to have top-notch A1 writing on multiple fronts. And I think that they just haven't had that. And so I think that they have written characters poorly. I think that there's certain characters that are very interesting and are very compelling for a moment. And then because of the way that they're written, they're not able to stay in those moments. I will say that the pacing I really like. I know that it's slow, but I like slow at the beginning. Like I will watch an entire season of an anime where the only payoff is at the very end. Excuse me. Just because I like that pacing. I think that pacing's. I think I like that pacing because of Naruto. Naruto was the first anime that I ever watched from start to finish, without putting it down at all the way until they completely finished the series. And it was slow. It took a long time to get the payoff of that show. I mean, I read that manga for, I don't know, 8-9 years, I think, right? The Madara reveal, I'm not going to say what it is because it's that good, was like 7 years. Like there was a 7-year reveal plan where they mention something and then it doesn't get paid off ever again until 7 years later. And it's in the manga's conception, which is insane. But it's that level of we're playing the long game. So with this, and this is my only point, wrapping up for me, my only major point is that I agree with a lot of the criticism, but I'm in hopes that they will course correct a little bit and they will use this slow pacing to push a longevity out of this show that I think is there, can be there. I think it just needs I think a little bit of tweaking will cause a lot of big results. I don't think they need to make big changes. I think they need to make small tweaks because I think that those tweaks will have big ripple effects throughout the show.
I really wanted to be wrong about this show because I was concerned that they were going to spend more time making it like how everything else is, super diverse, and that was all the stuff leading up to the show was all about that and the inclusion and all that stuff. And I was afraid they're going to spend so much effort and time on stuff like that they wouldn't actually make a good show. And that's kind of what they did. I really wanted to be wrong. And I really feel like that we got a shell of something. We got a license. We got the Joker movie.
Oh,
we got something.
Yeah.
But it's not the something that we remember. It's just licensed.
Right.
But like the characters don't feel like the characters from Lord of the Rings. Like even though they have the same names, they don't really feel the same. Elrond, if I stretch it, he kind of reminds me of like the Elrond we get. Now I know there's thousands of years in between the characters we have now and the ones we end up with then. But Galadriel is mostly unlikable as a character. She's very hard to root for. She basically causes the majority of the problems in the show by doing her own thing, her own way, and causing stuff. And they gave her some of the worst, like, one-liner dialogue. There's a tempest in me. This brought me here, and then
It reminds me of Horatio. Every time she says something, I go, "Wow!"
She just walks in places and demands things.
Yeah.
You know, when they go to Numenor, which was a cool thing because we didn't see Numenor, right?
Yeah.
Like, but the way she's demanding that the queen do whatever she says, and like I demand to see the king and all, like it's just so
I understand.
She's unlikable.
Yeah.
I got so frustrated about halfway through that I went back and watched all 3 of the extended cuts of the original Lord of the Rings movies so I could remember why I love this franchise.
Jeez.
And then I took a break and just watched the whole season of Cobra Kai because you were like, hey, you're going to watch this episode, and I couldn't do it. I had to take a break.
Yeah.
I would not continue to watch this show if we didn't make content about it. I would probably just not watch it because I don't want to watch it. But it's like a train wreck. I can't not watch it now.
Or more just so a train that you can't get off on.
Exactly. So,
but you heard it here. Kenny can't get off the train.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm probably gonna watch it until we decide not to make content on it because content's content, baby, and Media Mondays requires we talk about.
There's a lot of Mondays in the year.
Look, I'm telling you, if you like Rings of Power, tell us in the comments. We're gonna upload this really soon, and then we're also gonna put it on YouTube, so you'll be able to use the comment section because we want to know what you think. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you Team Josh, Team Kenny? Where do you line up?
Oh, don't do that to these people.
Because like we need to know. Like I need to know if I'm right or not. Because I know a lot of people that hate this show.
Oh my goodness.
But look, it's been Media Monday, and you can catch us at jktalktous@gmail.com, YouTube. We're on Spotify, on your mom's phone. We're everywhere, and we're glad to be back doing live shows just for you guys. It's been JK Talk, and we are out.
Peace. All right, now that Kenny's gone, I'm going to vibe with y'all for a little bit. He's on his cranky old man stuff this lately. I don't know what Rings of Power's got on him. He doesn't like that show, though. This music's hot. I like this. I like vibing with y'all. No, seriously, hit us up.